Thunder stood majestically in his paddock for years, the pride of Oakridge Farm with his gleaming black coat. But when the stallion was found collapsed and unable to stand, veterinarians delivered a heartbreaking verdict: permanent paralysis. As the family prepared for euthanasia, 6-year-old Emma slipped into the stable after midnight to say goodbye to her beloved friend. Her innocent investigation revealed a truth so simple yet shocking that it left everyone completely stunned. For years, Thunder had been the crown jewel of Oakridge Farm. The magnificent black stallion with his powerful stance and gleaming coat had become a local celebrity in their small, rural community. Thunder had collected countless ribbons at county fairs, often leaving other competitors in awe of his perfect form and movement. The Martin family had owned Oakridge Farm for 3 generations. Richard and Martha Martin ran the property, continuing the family tradition of breeding and raising quality horses. Their farm was known throughout the county for its excellent care and exceptional animals. Their granddaughter, Emma, spent nearly every weekend at Oakridge Farm. At just 6 years old, she was remarkably different from other children her age. While most kids were loud and energetic, Emma was quiet and thoughtful. She found more comfort in the company of animals than people. There was something special about her, a gentleness that animals seemed to sense and respond to. From the moment Thunder arrived at the farm 2 years earlier, Emma had formed an extraordinary bond with him. Despite his imposing size, Thunder always softened around the little girl. Emma would sneak away from the farmhouse whenever she could, bringing him special treats. Apple slices and carrots hidden in her pockets, presented when no one was watching. But 3 weeks ago, everything changed. Farm hands making their morning rounds found a disturbing sight. The once majestic stallion was down on the ground, struggling unsuccessfully to rise. The farm erupted into action. Richard called their veterinarian while farm hands tried to keep Thunder calm. Emma watched from a distance, her small face filled with concern as adults rushed around in a state of controlled panic. Dr. Peterson, the local veterinarian, arrived within the hour. His examination was thorough, checking Thunder's vital signs and responses. The horse showed no obvious injuries, but something was preventing him from using his hind legs. Over the next few days, Thunder underwent numerous tests. Specialists were called in from the nearest large animal hospital. They performed x-rays, blood work, and neurological exams. Emma would sit outside Thunder's stable for hours, just talking softly to him through the door. Finally, after a week of tests, the veterinarians reached their conclusion. Their faces were grim as they delivered the news to Richard. They believed Thunder had suffered significant spinal damage, likely from an unwitnessed fall. The damage had left his hind legs paralyzed. He could no longer stand, much less walk. Even worse, the specialists claimed Thunder was in constant pain. The injury wouldn't heal. It would only cause ongoing suffering. Dr. Peterson explained to Emma's grandfather that the kindest thing would be to put Thunder down. The horse was suffering, and there was no recovery from this kind of injury. That evening, Richard and Martha sat Emma down to explain. They chose their words carefully, trying to help their young granddaughter understand the concept of mercy when it came to animal suffering. They explained that sometimes letting go was an act of love. The procedure was scheduled for Saturday morning. Emma nodded silently when they told her, but her eyes reflected a deep sadness that broke their hearts. Her quiet acceptance was somehow even more heartbreaking than tears would have been. The farm fell into a solemn mood as Saturday approached. Farm hands spoke in hushed tones around the stables. Richard made arrangements with Dr. Peterson. Martha baked Emma's favorite cookies, hoping to provide some small comfort. On Friday night, Emma lay in bed in the guest room, unable to sleep. The thought of saying goodbye to Thunder kept her wide awake. As the night grew deeper and the house fell silent, Emma made a decision. She slipped out of bed and dressed quietly. Without making a sound, she crept down the stairs and out the back door. The night air was cool against her face as she made her way across the moonlit yard. The moon cast long shadows as Emma quietly approached the stable. With practiced hands, she unlatched the door, careful not to make any noise. She wanted to say goodbye to her friend properly, away from the sympathetic gazes of adults. Thunder was lying on his side in the straw. His once gleaming coat had lost its luster, now appearing dull in the moonlight. His eyes, though still gentle, were clouded with what everyone had assumed was pain from his injury. Emma sat beside him, gently stroking his neck. She spoke softly about all their memories together. The apple slices she'd snuck to him, the times she'd read storybooks while he listened, the way he'd nuzzle her hair when she was sad. As the night passed, Emma noticed something unusual. Thunder kept attempting to roll onto his stomach, as if trying to position himself to stand. But each time he would immediately recoil, letting out a pained whinny before settling back onto his side. This behavior struck Emma as strange. It didn't look like his spine was hurting. It seemed like he was reacting to something else. With childlike curiosity unclouded by medical assumptions, she began to wonder if everyone had missed something important. Emma started gently examining Thunder's legs and hooves in the dim light. She ran her small hands carefully along his limbs, watching his reactions. When she reached his right hind leg, Thunder remained calm. But when her hand moved toward his hoof, the horse suddenly tensed. When she reached his right hind hoof, Thunder flinched dramatically. Emma paused, then tried again more gently. The same reaction occurred. Emma peered closer, squinting in the limited moonlight. What she saw made her gasp. Embedded deep in the frog of his hoof, the sensitive V-shaped pad in the underside, was a large dark thorn. It had penetrated so deeply that it looked almost like part of the hoof itself, nearly invisible against the black color. No wonder the veterinarians had missed it during their examinations. Emma ran back to the farmhouse, her small feet carrying her as fast as they could go. She burst through the door and raced upstairs, frantically waking her grandparents. At first, they thought she was having a nightmare about Thunder's fate, but Emma's insistence made them follow her to the stable with a flashlight. Under the bright beam of the flashlight, the thorn was clearly visible. Richard knelt beside Thunder's hoof, carefully examining what Emma had discovered. His face transformed from skepticism to shock, then to cautious hope. The veterinarian was called immediately, despite the late hour. Dr. Peterson arrived and confirmed Emma's discovery. What had been misdiagnosed as paralysis was actually Thunder's response to excruciating pain whenever he put weight on his injured hoof. The thorn had been driven deeply into one of the most sensitive parts of the horse's anatomy and had become infected. The infection caused swelling that put pressure on nearby nerves, making standing unbearable. That night, Dr. Peterson performed a simple procedure to remove the thorn and drain the infection. He administered antibiotics to fight the infection. The relief on Thunder's face was almost immediate once the pressure was released. Within 2 weeks, Thunder was standing again. His first attempts were shaky, but each day brought more strength back to his legs. By the end of the month, Thunder was galloping across the paddock as if nothing had happened, his coat once again gleaming in the sunlight. The story of Emma and Thunder spread throughout the community. Dr. Peterson even brought veterinary students to meet Emma, explaining how sometimes the most observant eyes are the ones that see with the heart rather than with years of medical training. Emma's love for Thunder had saved his life. Her unwillingness to accept what everyone else believed to be true had changed the outcome completely. As Thunder returned to his former glory, everyone at Oakridge Farm was reminded that sometimes hope can come from the most unexpected places, even from a quiet 6-year-old girl who simply refused to say goodbye to her friend. Have you ever had a moment where your instinct told you something different than what experts believed? What would you have done in Emma's position?